Yeah, it's live on Facebook. Pallavi ma'am.
Okay, sir. So, good afternoon, everyone. I'm Pallavi Pandey, Assistant Professor in the Department of Computer Science and Engineering of K.R.Mangalam University. In this era, people talk only about physical health, but we all know that there is no physical health without mental health. Work is good for mental health, but negative environment may lead to several mental health problems. And so to discuss all these issues at workplace, here with us, we have a very renowned psychotherapist, Ms. Jamila Shabir Khokhawala. She has master's in clinical psychology and she is a member of British Psychological Society. So over to you, Jamila ma'am. Please shed some light on mental health at workplace.
Hello, thank you, Pallavi ma'am, for that introduction. So given the current scenario that we are facing, focusing on mental health in the workplace becomes a priority. Today's presentation is going to be about how can we understand and manage mental health in professional settings. I'm just going to share my screen. Please give me a few seconds. I hope the screen is visible to all. Okay, great.
It's visible, it's visible.
Great. So as I said, the topic today is mental health in the workplace. Now, just a bit about an overview of what we are going to cover in today's webinar. We start with understanding the importance of mental health. Everyone's been talking about it, right? Especially after COVID. Everyone talks about we need to take care about our mental health. Everyone's facing anxiety. Everyone's facing struggles at work. So what is the importance? Why are we talking so much about it? Why are people everywhere obsessing with it? Then we understand another topic, which is work-life balance. A lot of times, those lines become very blurry. So understanding what the balance is and then learning how to manage it. Along with that, we come to time management. What is the importance of time management? Followed with tips to succeed at it. Then something that I think everyone comes to mental health professionals for, your stress management. And then we end with techniques to handle stress. Now, as we go through this presentation, a lot of the information that I'll be sharing might seem like, oh, but we already know this. This is common sense. Yeah, we all do this. But you know, it's a fallacy, which means it's a mistake. We think that knowing is half the battle won. If I know this, that means I am taken care of. Well, I say that knowledge is not power. Knowledge is only potential power. What are you going to do with all of that knowledge if you're not going to actually implement it and do something to bring about change? So what I am hoping is that through this presentation, if there's anything that resonates with you or anything that you feel like, yes, I know this, or something new, just taking that information and implementing it in your life, that is the main aim. So let's not just use knowledge as potential power, but let's use it as power. All right, now why is it important? First thing is that work is a very important part of our life. When we look at our life, we look as a personal setting, your occupational setting, and your social setting, out of which work is your occupational setting. So it becomes one of the most important areas of your life. However, 43% of employees in the private sector in India face issues at work, face mental health issues at work. Hence, learning about how we can deal with our mental health issues becomes extremely important. You know, as a psychotherapist, I have a lot of clients that come to me, and a lot of them come with this issue of burnout. It's like stress, burnout. When we do not address stress in a timely manner, It ultimately builds, and it reaches a stage where we face burnout. Now, we don't want that to happen. We don't want it to be when the crisis has arrived, that's when we address it. Addressing it before the crisis arises becomes the most effective tool. So through this presentation, we want to bring about some symptoms. How can you address it? How can you manage it so that you don't reach that crisis?
Ma'am, I have one query. Ma'am, how can we understand mental health? How we can understand that this person is suffering from any kind of mental health?
Thank you, Pallavi ji. That's a very good question. So let's just look at the basics, right? Mental health is an umbrella term. It's a broad term up there. Now, under that, we have three areas, like I mentioned earlier: your personal life, your professional life, and your social life. Whenever you feel that you're functioning in any one of these areas is not normal, is not how it normally occurs, that could signal that you're struggling with your mental health. And I would like to focus on this point and stress as much as possible that mental health, if not more, is as important as your physical health. It is not a luxury, it is a priority. All right, going ahead. Now, talking about mental health and the workplace, right? How does mental health affect your productivity? First thing is that when you're suffering from any form of mental health disorder, may it be anxiety, depression, self-esteem issues, life transitions, you tend to lose concentration. So if you're at work and there's a task in front of you, and you're not able to concentrate or pay attention at that task, you're constantly caught up in your thoughts, you're thinking about everything else except the task in front of you. At times, you don't even have the energy, the mental capacity to look at the task in front of you. It affects your productivity, right? So you lose concentration. Another point is that you also suffer from paranoia. So when we talk about mental health disorders like anxiety and depression, paranoia becomes a very big symptom, which can lead you going down that spiral. Also at times, you tend to stay aloof from the rest of the group. You're isolated. You only want to spend time alone. Now, when we're talking about working in an organization, everyone works in teams. Teamwork is very important. So if you're not able to communicate effectively, if you're not able to interact effectively with your team members, how are you going to increase your productivity? This becomes another very big issue. Also, let's look at this, right? Any work culture is dynamic. We live in a dynamic world. Things are continuously changing. Change is the only thing which is inevitable. Everything else can be, you can think about, but change is not something that can stop. It is a way of life. Now, if the culture in any organization is continuously going to change, and you are struggling with some form of mental health, then it becomes very difficult for you to accommodate or accustom to that change. And that could also be another big area that's affecting your productivity. So these are different ways in which, when you're struggling with your mental health, you tend to loosen or reduce your productivity. Now, I'd like to ask the audience, anyone has an idea of what the term presenteeism means? It's something that people struggle with in the workplace. If anyone can share what they think it means. Yes. Could you please put it in the chat box or?
Yes, Indu Yadav. Can you please repeat the word again?
Yes, presenteeism. So we all know what absenteeism means, right? When you're absent from an organization, when you don't go there. What do you think is presenteeism? Yes, Sindhu Yadav? Do you want to try? Okay, so that is what the word would suggest for being present in the workplace. It is the opposite of absenteeism, where you're present in the workplace, but there's no productivity. That means your employees or the organization or the people working come to work every day, but you're not really at work. Your mind is somewhere else. You are not productive. You're not able to do any task. And there are a lot of people that suffer from it. And that's because you're struggling with so many mental health issues that you are there, but you're not able to perform. So this is something that people in the workspace suffer a lot from. And we're going to see how we can deal with presenteeism so that you do not reach that phase.
Ma'am, I would like to ask one more question. Ma'am, how does paranoia affect an individual in a workplace? Why does mental health matter? And how productivity affected by mental health, and how we can promote mental health at workplace?
Okay, so I'll take your first question. What is paranoia in a workplace? So that basically means that if you're struggling from a mental health disorder, paranoia is that when, say, for example, you do something wrong at work and your manager or your superior criticizes you and tells you, okay, this was not right. Next time, do it properly and come. When you're suffering from paranoia, you start spiraling down, where you can't even take constructive criticism, where you start self-doubting, where you think that, oh my God, I'm going to be thrown out of this organization. They're going to fire me. They do not want me. So you start thinking about the worst case scenario. Every small thing, even a small thing, is made out of proportion. That is what paranoia means. And to answer your second question, why are we talking about productivity in the workplace? So when we look at productivity or we look at a workplace, there are four important parts to it. Traditional capital is your economic capital, right? Your finance, assets in any organization. Then coming to social capital, reputation of the organization. Who do they know? They're networking. Then there's human capital. That means the employees. And fourth is your psychological capital, the mental health of your employees. So Bill Gates had once said when he was running the organization that the most important part of my company, the most important asset of my company is those that walk out every night. So he said that in any company, the human capital is the most important element because they can either make or break a company.
Okay, thank you, ma'am.
Great. Okay, so coming to the topic of work-life balance. How many of you feel like you struggle with your work-life balance? Or you feel like this is something that I could struggle with, or you know people around you struggling with? You can just say a yes or no in the chat box.
Indu Yadav is saying, ma'am, that everyone is struggling.
Right, that's very true. So we all in a way do struggle. We all in a way do struggle, right? And I think it becomes even more so during COVID. During COVID, that, barrier between your work life and your personal life was kind of gone away. No one was able to differentiate. So let's look at what work-life balance is. Okay. Now, when you're able to experience satisfaction both in your work life and in your personal life, okay? One is we're experiencing satisfaction. Two is we're able to function in both these domains. And three is that, okay, my role in my work life is this, my role in my personal life is this. I am not suffering from any kind of conflict. I am not struggling with any conflict. So when we talk about work-life balance, when you know that, okay, I'm satisfied with both my areas of life, I know I can function effectively, and I'm not facing any conflict, That is what we term as work-life balance. Now that we understand, how many of y'all think it is so? Now, when we're saying work, we don't only mean an organization. Even as a student, right? You're coming to university, you're coming and studying, that becomes your work life, right? It's a broad term. So how many of you feel like you do have that balance in life between your work and your personal life? I can see that a lot are struggling with that. Everyone struggles with maintaining that balance effectively in both areas. So what happens is that when we're not able to maintain that balance, it leads to something known as emotional exhaustion, mental exhaustion, where we're not able to do anything about it. As a psychotherapist, I have a client and she's a student, very, very accomplished in life. She's studying in Switzerland. She's doing her PhD, very young to be doing her PhD, and always been at top of her class, very, very accomplished. Now, what is happening is because she's not able to maintain a distinction between what her life at the institute, at her work is, and what her personal life is that she's continuously emotionally exhausted and she's not able to enjoy life. She keeps coming to me and telling me, what do I do? She's like, I'm just tired. I'm exhausted of feeling this way. So when you're not, what is the point of all these achievements and accomplishments if you're not able to really enjoy it, right? So this is why we talk about maintaining a balance, because you don't want to reach a stage of emotional exhaustion. And how we can maintain that, or how can we deal with it effectively, is through something known as boundary theory. So when you're able to maintain that physical, right, as well as psychological. So it's not only that when I go to office, I'm working, and when I'm at home, I'm not working, because most people also carry their work at home. So when you're able to draw that boundary, which is physical as well as psychological, that means that you're able to function effectively. Are there any questions?
Ma'am, could you please tell whether the mental health is crucial for multinational companies only?
Right,
or it is for everyone?
I think that's perfect. And I think that was answered at this point only. Everyone, right? Over here, I'm talking about students. I'm talking about housewives. I'm talking about children, grandparents, any professional in any setting. Are only multinational employees the ones who suffer or struggle with mental health? Are they the only ones who have mental health? I don't think so. I think we all have issues with our mental health. Even me as a psychotherapist, at times even I struggle with my mental health, even though this is my job. So we can never say, oh, this person never has any issues or this person is not struggling. Mental health is something that everyone suffers from, which is why a topic like this becomes very, very relevant for each and every individual.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, now coming to the part, okay, we've learned all of this. We're talking about how it's very important. This is imperative. We've been discussing this. Now, what do we do about it, right? So the first point is, are you really drinking your chai? Anyone can guess what this means. What do I mean by, do you really think that you're drinking a chai, or are you really drinking your chai?
Let's ask how many actually drink chai. All right.
That's a great question. Ma'am, please tell me the ways by which we can maintain a balance of mental health. Yes, that's exactly.
Or we can visualize something like this also, that how many times is like this, that when you are sipping a cup of tea and you don't know what exactly you're doing, you're thinking something else is your priority.
Exactly, sir, exactly.
So even if physically it looks like that you are on a cup of tea, but mentally you are somewhere else, So this is one question which is very important, which needs to be addressed, that are we really eating when we are eating? Are we really sleeping when we are sleeping? Okay. Are we at one place, or it's otherwise.
That's perfect. I think that encapsulates exactly what this means. Are you really drinking your chai, or as you said, coffee or any other beverage that you prefer? But this basically means that when you're doing that activity, are you really doing it? Are you really present in it? Or are you thinking about everything else in the world? Are you thinking about all the future difficulties you're going to face? Are you thinking about all the past difficulties that you have faced? Are you really in that present moment, and are you mindful? So that is what we mean by it. So how do you maintain that? Is, say when you're taking a break, really take that break. If you're taking a lunch break, focus on what you're eating. Be mindful. What we call it is mindfulness. Try to increase mindfulness in your daily practice. So whenever you're taking a break, take the break. Don't make it a forced break. Make it an intentional break. That's the key word. And I say this a lot in my therapy sessions as well. That is this a forced break that you're taking where your body's like, I give up. I can't do anything, so I'm not going to function anymore. That's not what we want. We want an intentional break where you give yourself that break and tell you that it's not that you've reached this point, but you deserve it. And trust me, you'll see how much your creativity increases. Second point is create a workspace. Now, this is especially very, very relevant to the COVID situation. You know, when we didn't have any physical boundary, right? We were at work, home, everything, sleep, eat on the same table, in the same spot. That is really going to hamper your mental health. You needed to have one space where you eat, one your leisure and rest time, and one small table in your house where you can do your work. Don't mix all of that together. Otherwise, how are you going to differentiate? It's all going to be the same. All that chaos is going to stay out. So being able to differentiate physically and psychologically becomes very important. That's your second tip. And third, this is something that, you know, I feel like most people take for granted. It's something so simple as following a routine, right? Having some structure in your life. And most people don't give it that much attention, but I think everyone's going to agree with me when that routine was gone out of the window during COVID. Everyone was struggling, right? Everyone had some life key. I do this in the morning, this in the afternoon, this in the evening, and my day is over. Structure. But when that structure was gone away, everyone was lost. There was chaos in your life. So following a routine is imperative. Now, how do you do that? In the morning, say you have something you do before you go to work, before you go to university, before you're starting any other task of yours, follow that, whether it's some form of yoga, meditation, a morning routine, during work, whatever you do, having your lunch every day at the same time, having your dinner every day at the same time, going to bed every day at the same time, following a structure and a routine becomes very important. Now, I'd like to share with you this really interesting research study that I came across, where it said that people who have dogs are a lot more happier than people without dogs. Can anyone guess why would that be? Anyone in the audience could tell me that why is it that people who have dogs have better well-being compared to people who don't?
First is they have a company.
Right.
Right. Second is this, that they have a meaning, you know, like they have a friend, they have somebody around. And it gives a routine to you also. Like you have to take care of them, you have to take them out, etc., right? So what I've seen is that, as my friend usually puts it, that the pets are basically the best stress busters.
Absolutely. That was perfect, Ashokji. And Jyoti says, absolutely agreed, ma'am. These little pooches make our life very happy. 100% Jyoti. And main idea is that when we're talking about this research in comparison to following a routine, dogs love structure. They love routine. So they will force you to feed them every day at the same time. They will force you to take them for a walk every day at the same time. They will force you to put them to bed every day at the same time. So because you're forced to follow their routine, automatically you have a routine, which is why people who have pets, especially dogs, tend to show a lot more well-being compared to others. I think that's amazing. And I'm going to again take this from a personal case, a client of mine who was struggling a lot with just work and life. And once during our therapy sessions, we were just discussing this thing about structure and about dogs. And that really clicked with him. The next week, he got himself a dog. And now when we talk, he tells me that one thing that changed my life was getting myself my dog. So this is how powerful it can be. Okay.
I personally feel there's another element to it, Of course, they need attention. They put you on routine. When you come home, the kind of love they give you. So the moment you enter your home and the dog starts, wagging the tail and licking you up and jumping onto you and all, right? So that takes away all. You become one with your present at that time. You forget where are you coming, what was in your mind and all that, because everything comes to that very point itself, the love, affection, the sporting of the dog and the way it plays and all. So I think that's an important element which helps, to remove stress from our life. And you feel relaxed, definitely.
That's very true. It's that kind of unconditional love, right? Where if that's missing in any other area of your life, you're going to get it from your pet. That unconditional love. That's great. So I'm glad to even see that the audience agrees with this in the chat box. A lot of you do agree with it. So that's great. We can continue now.
Okay. Ma'am, so could you please tell our audience that if the environment is not so good, because environment is not in our hand and it is in the hand of management. So under these circumstances, how can we take care of our mental health?
That's a very good question, right? At times it's not in our hand. So the first key point is that you cannot change anyone else's behavior except your own. A lot of people come and say that this is an issue, that is an issue. What do I do? But this person doesn't listen to me. That person doesn't listen to me. Till the person wants to listen, there is nothing in the world that you can do to change that. So first point is it's only yourself that you can work on, that you can change. Now, having said that, at times the environment is out of our control. And no matter how much work we do internally, we can't do anything because the environment can be toxic. It can be the thing that keeps us down all the time, right? We have a lot of toxic work environments. In such cases, it becomes very important to address the issue with the concerned person, whether it's the management, whether it's your superior, whoever the concerned person is, address it, and then explain to them how you need to collaborate with that person and work on it. Because at times it's beyond your personal capacity. And I have a client who's been in therapy for very long, you could say 6 to 7 months. And she's done everything possible in order to work on herself internally. But at a certain point, there's only so much she can do. Then it comes down to the management. What is the management in that company doing? So addressing the issue with concerned authorities becomes very important and becomes the next step.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you. Thank you for explaining so wonderfully.
Great.
I would love, ma'am, if you could just give few more hints to the people who are really struggling. Suppose the environment seems only toxic, One is the environment is toxic. And otherwise that I perceive it so, all right? So here is an area where I need to address. So when a situation is something like that in the beginning, how could a person, what should a person do to take care of this aspect, all right? Instead of just thinking of going to the management.
That's great. So when, you feel like maybe it's me who thinks that the environment is toxic, but maybe in reality, it's not, right? At times, that's very possible. In such a situation, one first thing that you can do is try to be mindful. Try to understand things that, am I catastrophizing? It's a cognitive distortion, and people do it a lot in therapy, where we try to catastrophize situations when it's not really the reality. So one thing that helps a lot is think about your best case scenario, think about your worst case scenario, right? We have two extremes, and then think about the most likely. So when we look at what the best could be, when we look at what the worst could be, and we come to the mid, which is the most likely, that definitely puts things into perspective. Because when we say that it might seem and it not really is, you're lacking perspective in those situations. So working with trusted friends, families, colleagues, in order to bring things into perspective, using your social support. We are all humans, we all need social support. Banking on that social support, all of these factors can help you put things into perspective and understand, is this something that I really need to take up, or is this something I can manage and handle on my own?
Sometimes this support system is counterproductive, and this support system ends up being a gossiping, unit in itself, right? So when you are trying to take support from your colleagues or your family or someone else you trust in, right? And the person concerned is more towards sympathizing with you rather than empathizing, right? Or leading you on. Under these situations, what do you think a person should do who's going through a period of crisis, doesn't know, and job is important, workplace is important?
Correct. Firstly, Ashokji, I love that you brought about the difference between sympathy and empathy. I think that is such a simple concept that most people are not able to differentiate between. So I'm going to actually take this opportunity to open the question to the audience. Does anyone know the difference between sympathy and empathy? Right. So when we talk about...
I think Jyoti Sarawat has said very clearly that I believe when you really feel so.
Right. So Jyoti says...
When you try to be in someone else's shoe, that is what is empathy all about.
Correct. So Jyoti tells us when we empathize, we actually try to feel, putting yourself in someone else's shoes. Perfect. So when we talk about empathy and sympathy, there's this wonderful metaphor, which I remember coming across, where sympathy is being on the banks of a river, right? You see the water flowing and you're on banks of the river watching the water flow. That is sympathy, right? I see it. I can see this is happening. Empathy is when you step your feet in the water, when you're feeling how it does feel as it flows down. So I thought that was a beautiful way of making a distinction between sympathy and empathy. When you see something and you sympathize with it, you just say that, yeah, this is pretty bad that this is happening. But when you actually feel that feeling, it is empathy. Now, coming to your question, sir, when you said that, at times that's very true. A social situation can be counterproductive instead of productive. That support, we don't really get that support. I would definitely recommend in those situations, if possible, reach out to a mental health professional. At times, they help you put things in perspective, right? Our job is to help you look at situations differently, help you manage your emotional difficulties, help you perform at your optimal level. So if you feel like, okay, I've tried everything in my capability, right? I've internalized, I have reached out to friends and family, I have tried to work on things as much as possible to my capabilities, but I still feel that I'm lacking, then reaching out to a mental health professional would be the best next step you can take.
And for that, I think we really need to overcome one aspect which we call the social stigma as far as the mental health is concerned. 100%. So I would really appreciate if you could make us understand that mental health is an issue which is with everyone, right? And this has to be addressed, and there are professionals now available who can help, right? So we need not feel shy and all. And mental health is not at all a stigma. It is not an issue, right? It can be taken care of if you are in safe hands. I would love you to elaborate on it, please.
100%, right? I would say 10 years ago, we lived in a country where the stigma with mental health was at this level, right? But with time, we are progressing. And I feel that COVID was a catalyst in this whole situation, where people realized the importance of mental health. Because one thing everyone was struggling with, intensity might be different, degree might be different, but every single person was suffering, was anxious, was uncertain, which caused a lot of anxiety. So if mental health, the stigma around mental health, we're thinking that, nahi, you know, ye to sirf pagals jate hai mental health professional ke paas. It is only meant for people who really have some problem. Normal people, it's okay. We can just work on it on our own. I don't think that if that was possible, if you could work on everything on your own, I wouldn't have a job, right? So it comes down to the fact that at times you need that professional help. There are people who specialize in this, who have studied for years in this field, who know how to help you. And it is something that every single person needs. There is the stigma that only if I'm suffering from some form of disorder, I need to go to a mental health professional. That is not true. You could be completely normal. There could be nothing wrong with you. But you want to learn, how can I take care of myself better? I want to gain self-awareness to know what works for me and what doesn't. There are certain things that I need to work on to be better, to make myself better. People also go to mental health professionals for these factors. I have clients who come to me not because they're struggling with anything, but just because they want to gain more self-awareness into themselves so that they can function better. So understanding that mental health is not something that only if you're suffering from major mental health disorders that you need to go to a professional. Normal people like you and me who are not having any mental health disorder, but just need some support in their day-to-day functioning, who just want to learn how they can, if this is their level of functioning, they want to bring it up here. They want to function better. They want to take better care of themselves. They want to be at their optimal level, their best version, right? People also reach out to mental health professionals for these factors. And I hope that, you know, this has resonated with a lot of people, because it is time that we as a generation break the stigma towards mental health. Great.
So much and all that, right? Because this was very, you know, this is what exactly happened during the COVID time. Husband and wife. The usual thing was this, that the husband was moving out, or the wife also moving out, and they're coming only for in the evenings together, right? And feeling was very different when 24 hours together, and you know, one is impinging on the other's faces and all. So that led to a lot of issues between husband and wife. Same was the issues between children and parents. You know, that is what we see. And that is what has led very clearly that we need professionals' help to help us out under those situations which we had not visualized otherwise. So thank you so much for clarifying.
Definitely. Thank you. Now, I'd like everyone to do this activity. I'm sure everyone has seen it on their screen. So when we say that let's have a 5-star day, some amount of self-care, some amount of work, family time, reducing a bad habit, and a hobby. These are factors that make a 5-star day. So I want everyone to just see that how many stars do you have in your day? And try and reaching a 5-star day at least a few times in a week. So everyone, please take this, reflect on it for a minute and see how many stars you actually have in your day and how you can reach a 5-star day. Okay, if there aren't any more questions, I would like to go ahead. Coming to the topic of time management.
So ma'am, at this point of time, I'm wondering that how time management is connected to mental health.
Absolutely. I think that's a good question, and understanding that becomes also very imperative. What is it that people most of the time struggle with? It is that you have so many tasks in front of you, from home, from work, from a social situation, that becomes difficult that which one should I prioritize over the other? How should I manage all of this? Is work more important than my family? Is my family more important than my friends? Are my friends more important than work, right? We're always thinking about all these factors and struggling to prioritize which one comes over the other. How do we manage all? So that's why we talk a bit about time management so that we see that how it's fitting into balance.
Very beautifully explained, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you. Now, I love this phrase, which is we tend to overestimate what we can do in a day, but we tend to underestimate what we can do in a month. We always make plans for our days, make these huge to-do tasks. I'm going to do this, that. End of the day, we reach and we're like, oh God, I haven't been able to complete even half this list. And then you feel demotivated. But we never think that, okay, I have a month. And maybe if I break down my task into a month, it's going to be more manageable and I'm probably going to reach my goal. And none of us think about it in that way. We only think about it in the present moment. So I hope this resonates with everyone, especially, the students, managers, employees, that let's not overestimate what we can do in a day and let's not underestimate what we can do in a month. Let's plan things more realistically. Let's find why we lack motivation and how we can overcome procrastination. Okay, and one great way of doing that is SMART goals. Now, SMART goals are basically goals that you set that are specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and time-based. So I'm going to ask everyone to think about a goal which could fit into this category. Something that is specific in terms of what specifically do I want to achieve? Measurable. We don't want to have vague goals, right? Now, how can I measure that I've achieved this goal? If you just say, for example, people say that I want to lose weight. Want to lose weight is a very vague goal. Or someone would say something like, I want to be the best in my work. Again, vague. What specifically do I want to do in order to be the best? How will I know that I have reached that? Maybe if I complete this task and I'm able to measure it by the end of it, that's when I know I've reached it. Attainable, right? Don't set unrealistic goals. Don't set a goal that you know is very unrealistic. It's always good to be optimistic and try to get out of your comfort zone, but not to an extent where it's unrealistic. There's a difference between personal growth and unrealistic goals. So something that's attainable, realistic, and relevant, something that you know that is a priority in this matter and I need to work on it, because that's only when you're going to focus all of your energy. And having deadlines are always good because it kind of helps you commit to the task. When you don't have a deadline and you just go on and on and on, that commitment doesn't come from inside. So I'm going to ask everyone to think of a goal that fits into this category. And then whenever anyone has a goal that's ready, that has fit into being specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and time-based, I'd love for you to share it in the chat box. Okay. Going ahead now, because I am a psychotherapist and I do therapy sessions, sometimes you have to bring about this factor. Now, when we work in organizations, right, we have a lot of unhelpful thoughts. Not only organizations, like we said, mental health is something that everyone suffers from. Whether you're an individual who's working, not working, child, grandparent, couple, belonging to any population, you're going to struggle with your mental health. We spoke about how, you have to bring things into perspective. So these are some factors. Let's go through these cute snippets. If I don't achieve this goal, it will ruin my life. This is when you catastrophize. So first, bring it into perspective by asking yourself, am I blowing things out of proportion? Right? Is it that it's a small thing and I'm just going down that spiral and catastrophizing? Or two, am I being extreme in my thinking? Which means that I'm not in the middle, I'm on either end of the spectrum. So keeping calm and staying balanced. Second is I should not falter during this process, right? Mistakes are a part of life. Everyone makes mistakes and it's only normal. If you do not make mistakes, you're superhuman and probably you're not even human. So understanding that, am I setting unrealistic expectations? Am I being very rigid in my views? I can't tell y'all how many of my clients come in with these shoulds and must and have tos. Everyone sets these own rules and regulations for themselves, that I should always excel at every task I do. Who says that? You say that. Is that realistic? Is that sustainable? No, it's not. It is not how we are made. It is not how we're going to function. So at times when you are having this self-talk, reflecting on your self-talk and understanding, are these things really going to help me or are they going to be more unhelpful? Then, we also tend to compare ourselves a lot. In an organization, you might be comparing yourself to your fellow employees, to all your fellow friends who are working in different organizations. You keep thinking that others are making more progress than me, right? You keep saying that I'm not doing as much as A is doing. B is doing better than me. When you have these kind of thoughts that are coming to your head, asking yourself, am I only focusing on the positives of someone else's life? Do you know the complete picture that someone else is going through? When we see Instagram or we see these social media sites, people only put up their best life. And then we start feeling bad seeing their best life, thinking that, is it really what is reality? Am I only focusing on someone else's positives? Also thinking that, is this comparison helping me? You're going through all of this, but is this helping you or not, right? This is a way you shift your attention. Or another thought, the progress I've made so far is not that important. Would you talk like that to someone you love, someone who's in your close circle? Say they make some progress. Would you tell them that it's not that important, what you've done is not good enough? So when you are if you aren't critical to someone else, why be so critical to yourself? Why aren't you like that with someone else? Because you know that it's not going to help them. When you have that understanding with someone else, why not bring in that self-compassion to yourself? Am I being dismissive of myself? So celebrating all your big and small wins. These are great ways in which we can manage our self-talk. And I cannot stress on how many clients I have, young adults, people who are entering the workforce, people who are already in the workforce, people who are studying, that have these kind of thoughts that come to your head. And managing and dealing with these thoughts on your own or with a mental health professional is very beneficial. Coming to the procrastination cycle. So how does procrastination work? You don't do your task you're supposed to do. You feel guilty. You start panicking. You make excuses for not being able to do it for that guilt, and you procrastinate even more. It's a vicious cycle that we all get stuck in. How do we break that cycle? Okay. So something interesting to share with all of you is there's something known as the Zeigarnik effect. Now, it is from a Russian school of thought. What it basically means is that we tend to remember tasks that are unfinished a lot better than we remember tasks that are finished. So this came about being where in a restaurant, there was a waiter. And, they realized that the waiter was able to remember everything mentally really quickly. They didn't have to write it down or do anything. It used to just stay with them. And when they asked the waiter, and the minute the waiter served the food, he forgot about that whole order. Now, what was happening is that until that whole thing was completed, till he actually went and served the food and completed that whole thing, that thought was in his head, the order was in his head. The minute he had completed the task by giving the customers the order, he forgot about it. So this is what happens. And this is what, soap operas take advantage of. Whenever we're watching a TV show and at the end of it, there is some parts of it which are still left. And, we are always on edge thinking about, oh, this is left in this TV show. This is left in this TV show. I want to watch it. I can't wait to get back to it. This is what happens, right? We want to get back to our task. We want to finish something that is incomplete. And this happens a lot in procrastination. When there is a task you need to complete, it's going to play on your mind all the time till you complete it. And trust me, the same mental energy that you use in avoiding it is the same mental energy you could have used in completing it. The amount of mental energy we use in avoiding a task is the same mental energy we could use in completing a task. So this is an important factor, knowing that in procrastination, don't let yourself become a victim. Try to complete your task so you can save on your own mental energy. Also, at times when we do things just for 5 minutes, we end up prolongating and completing it. When I have clients who come to me with the issue of procrastination, something that works for them is just sitting in front of the task for 20 minutes, whether you're doing anything or not. Say you have to complete an assignment or you have to complete something at work. Just sitting in front of your laptop for 15 minutes and just getting started on that task has more opportunities of you completing it fully. Commit to it socially, right? When we say have in SMART goals, have a deadline. Committing it to it socially, telling people I'm going to complete this, having something, online. You have a lot of these sites where you can commit to it socially. When you do those things, you're more likely to finish it because you feel accountable. Reward yourself. Reward and punishment is behavioral psychology. When you do something and you reward yourself can be very helpful rather than when you don't. And then balancing your food. Food nutrition plays an immense role in mental health. So having some form of balance can also be very helpful. So there are two types of motivation in all of us. Before we come to motivation, is there any questions that anyone would like to question or would like to ask? Please put it in the chat box because we've completed a nice part of our work. If there's anything that anyone would like to discuss in terms of mental health, in terms of productivity, or any thoughts on any of the slides we've done so far, I'd love to hear if anyone has anything. So please put out your questions in the chat box.
Ma'am, I would like to ask you, what are the differences between healthy work environment and negative work environment?
Great, I'll definitely answer. Thank you, Jyoti, for saying that, how can we work around procrastination was really helpful, because that is something, and as we go ahead, we're going to see another reference to that. So I feel like that is also going to be helpful to you. How can we be focused for a long time? Okay. Coming to that, as we go ahead in the presentation, there is a part on that, what is good focus and what isn't. So we'll definitely address it. And Pallavi ji, to answer your question, could you please repeat it?
My question was, what are the differences between healthy work environment and a negative work environment?
That's a really good
How it affects the employees, how it affects the productivity and so on.
Perfect. That's a good question. And I think to answer that, I'm going to ask all of you to think about this one fact. factor. All right. So when we talk about environments, whether it's healthy or toxic, non-toxic, unhealthy, there are 8 factors in any organization that means that the work environment is healthy. One is variety in duties. Having different duties that you can perform in an organization. If it's that same duty that you're performing over and over and over again, it's going to get very monotonous. You're going to get bored with your work. So first factor is having, when we're talking about a healthy work environment, having a variety of duties. Second, it should be safe. You should feel safe in your work environment. Third, you should be getting a good income for your friends and family, for you and your family, in the sense that you feel satisfied, you're able to take care of yourself, you're able to take care of your family. Third, work should have some form of purpose. You're spending so many hours of your day in this part. The purpose doesn't have to be huge, like, you are eradicating poverty or you are changing completely the situation of mental health in the world. No, it doesn't have to be a huge purpose. A small purpose also enough. That what I am doing matters to someone down the line. Maybe the work I do, some way down the chain, it's making a difference, and that is great. Purpose can even be that the work I am doing helps me earn money to take care of my family, helps me reduce the burden on my family members, even something, or just that at least I'm using my capabilities for something important. Even a little bit, a very small purpose is enough, but having some form of purpose. Getting some satisfaction and happiness, that would be the 5th point. 6th point is being involved and engaged in your work, right? Which is why we speak about communication, teamwork. You don't want to be a passive receiver. You want to be an active participant in your work. When you're actively participating, that's going to make a difference. A sense that you're able to meet your goals, and an environment that represents and appreciates diversity. It's become very important for all organizations to include inclusivity and diversity in the workplace. That has become very important because everyone comes from different backgrounds and we all work together under one roof. So having that feeling of inclusion where you're respected is a very important factor. So to answer your question, Pallavi ji, these are factors that make a healthy work environment.
Okay. Thank you, ma'am. Ma'am, Jyoti ma'am has one more question regarding procrastination.
Yes.
She is asking that we usually keep pushing away difficult tasks or lengthy ones till we are forced to do it. So how to cope up with this?
That's a very good question, Jyoti. And as we go ahead, you will see it is being addressed. So you will see how we can cope with it. But coming back to motivation very quickly, we all have an extrinsic motivation. That means something from the outside, right? It could be your rewards like an award, a trophy, money, social recognition, praise. All of this means that we're motivated to do it because we're getting something externally from outside. Intrinsic motivation is what we get from inside. We are doing it because we feel good. Like when you solve a problem, you feel good about yourself. When you work out, right? Working out releases these certain neurotransmitters in your brain, which make you feel good. So there are always 2 types of motivations, which is your extrinsic and intrinsic motivation. And I would like to know in the chat box, what motivates you both intrinsically and extrinsically when you're doing your job? Is there anyone who'd like to share this? Something that motivates them both externally and internally when they're doing their job. The feeling when the students succeed. Okay. So you feel like that could be an extrinsic and intrinsic motivation, because internally you're succeeding because you feel good about it. And you also get rewarded, you get praised, and there are many opportunities that turn up for you. So that's a great point. Thank you for sharing. Okay, so coming to the question that I was asked about focus earlier, right? How can we be focused for a long time? Now, your focus is good if you find it easy to stay alert. You set your goals and break tasks into smaller parts. So how can you increase your focus if you have a task which is very lengthy and it is long and you have to stay focused for a long time? Break it into smaller parts. Always breaking your goal down into small manageable pieces. Coming back to our SMART goals, goals that are specific, is how you can attain them. So first, I would tell you to be focused for a long time, break things into smaller parts. Don't keep vague goals that I just need to complete this assignment. Break it, right? Okay, I need to complete the introduction. Then I need to complete the case study. Then the conclusion. Break it, set a timetable, time box it. That could be one way. Take breaks, right? It is not possible. According to research studies, the amount a person can be concentrated for is 45 minutes. More than that, you're not going to be optimally functioning. So take short breaks between the tasks you're going to do. Do it, take a 5-minute break and come back to it. That's another way you can be focused on a lengthy task. You need to work on your focus if you daydream regularly, which means that you're in front, like we spoke about. You're not really drinking your chai. You are in front, your cup is in front of you, but you're thinking about every possible thing in your life. Pay attention, right? Pay attention at the task you're doing. Pay attention at your assignment. You get distracted very easily. Things around you, the smallest distraction and you're distracted. And you lose track of your progress. Being able to track what we're doing, again, coming back to SMART goals, is an helpful way. I hope that helped answer the question.
Yes, ma'am.
Great. Now, how can we identify that you're struggling with your mental health? Right? We've been talking about this for a while, but just a few things to put out, because if you feel, yes, thank you, Preeti, for answering. If you feel like you are struggling with your mental health, if any of these symptoms are in your life, or you know a loved one or someone else within your social circle that is struggling, maybe it becomes your responsibility to advise them to reach out to a mental health professional. So if you are continuously thinking about the future, right, you're worried, you're thinking this will happen, then that will happen, then that will happen, you reach the worst case scenario. If these are thoughts in your head all the time, and because of that, you're not able to do normal things, you're not able to live your life, your day-to-day life normally. That could be one symptom. Second one is you always have low mood, right? No interest in any activity. Normal things that you are interested in doing, like your normal activities like watching TV, doing your work, going for a walk, exercising, those normal things also you don't have interest in anymore. That would be point number 2. Feeling unhappy, low mood, feeling hopeless, no interest. 3 is suddenly you have these emotional outbursts. So it's like, when we talk about it from mental health aspects, it's like it builds. You keep quiet, you keep quiet, and suddenly a volcano erupts. So when you feel like a lot of that is happening, when you have these emotional outbursts, that could signify that you're struggling with your mental health. Not able to sleep, you notice changes in your appetite, you're quiet, you're isolated. Substance abuse. A lot of times, people think that dealing with their struggles, the answer is substances. That is really not an effective way to deal with it. It's only going to create more problems than less. So knowing that you're resorting to some of these means, when you feel worthless, you feel guilty about the things you're doing, about just existing at times, that could be another sign. And changes in behaviors or your feelings. So I would like everyone to just reflect for a minute on these factors. And I would ask all of you that if you know anyone who is struggling with their mental health, and these are visible things you can see in their life, then it is your responsibility. If it's you, then your responsibility to reach out to a mental health professional. And if you know someone else, your responsibility to encourage them to reach out. Because like we saw earlier, mental health is not a stigma. It is not a luxury. A lot of people have this idea that mental health is a luxury. It is not a luxury, it is a priority. And it is your responsibility to take care of your mental health, because no one can bring about change for yourself except you.
Okay, ma'am. So, ma'am, could you please tell what are some of the common mental health issues that occurs at workplace? And could you please discuss the behavioral health conditions that most commonly contribute to the issues in workplace?
Right. So I would say that when we talk about, changes, these would be all the changes that take place. And when we're talking about mental health in a workplace, a lot of common issues that people struggle with is anxiety. A lot of people have anxiety. A lot of my clients come in with that issue. Second is burnout, right? Like I said, stress, ultimately burnout. So addressing stress in a timely manner when it happens the first or second time is important so that you don't reach the crisis. And third, I would also say depression. A lot of people also suffer from depression, right? Because you feel like none of this is working. So these would be some of the common mental health disorders: self-esteem, self-doubt. A lot of these come in, and I'm saying this from experience, a lot of my clients come in with these kind of issues, especially in relation to the workplace.
Ma'am, suppose someone has lost his or her self-esteem. How can she or he achieve it back?
Right. I think that's a very elaborate answer to a question, because self-esteem, I can't even begin to mention most of my clients that are within this young adults age group, right? Like our audience, who are studying in university, who are going to start working, who are already working, who are going to start studying. All of them have one common factor, which is lack of self-esteem. And it might not be very visible. It might not be something that you can see, but when they come into the therapy room and when they want to discuss it, this is something that everyone is struggling with. Self-esteem, lack of self-compassion, extremely self-critical. They're the harshest to themselves. They would never say these same things to anyone else, to a friend or a family member, but they have constantly telling themselves that, which decreases their self-esteem. So in order to address that, I would definitely encourage such a person to reach out to a professional, or if you want, you can even send the organization, the university, an email, and then they can get in touch with me and we can definitely address those factors.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Definitely. Now coming to our main idea, stress management, which someone again posed a question of, how do we deal with it? So these are a few ways. Now, I just want to, before we look into this, I want to say that no one is the same. No individual is the same. If I'm going to discuss these methods, not necessarily all these methods are going to work for a person. Maybe one out of them might work, maybe two, maybe three, maybe all of them, right? But why we say self-awareness is important, why we say therapy is an individual process, because you need to understand yourself, learn about yourself in order to see how you can help yourself, to see what is going to fit for you and what is not going to fit for you. So out of this, I want you all to kind of pay attention to what resonates with you, what can help you, and then take that to use in your mental health.
Right.
Okay. Just quickly, importantly, understanding that there are two kinds of stress. One stress is good, which is eustress, which always motivates us to do better, right? Like getting a promotion, buying a new house, getting married. They are stressful events, but they are stresses we look forward to. That is the good kind of stress. The stress that you need to deal with is distress. It is the negative kind of stress, like job loss, right? Financial problems, divorce. All of these are the stresses that we need to work around, which we term as distress. So distress has a lot of physical implications. Decreases your immunity, you might have a stomach ache, you might not be able to sleep at night, you're not eating, changes in your appetite, loss of concentration, you're all the time irritated, you're all the time anxious, you're always on edge. All of these come under the category of distress, right? So many people do face it. especially caregivers too of many individuals, doesn't mean that, just because I'm not the individual going through it, it could be also because of another individual. When the reason we spoke about time management is because you might have so many tasks in front of you, but it's like, which one should I prioritize over the other? All of these are connected. So this is a little bit about distress, something that people in organizations face a lot. Anxiety, and I love, this one phrase that encompasses anxiety beautifully, which is worrying is like a rocking chair. It gives you something to do, but it gets you nowhere. And that's exactly what it is. Fear of the future. We keep thinking and thinking and thinking, but no action. It's like a rocking chair, right? You're constantly moving. It's not doing anything. So this is how we like the idea of, and I think this is basically what anxiety is, fear of the future. Now coming back to the idea of procrastination, which was posed as a question. So, when you do reflect on the idea, procrastination in a way is a response to stress or anxiety in itself. So when you procrastinate, trying to understand what is leading you to procrastinate. It could be stress itself, or it could be anxiety, right? You're just too anxious to start that task, so you tend to put it off more and more. Or you feel like it's such a big task, that burden on your head is there continuously. So you're just like, if I start with it, I'll have to deal with it, and I don't want to deal with it. So you're trying to run away from it. Suddenly, you'll also feel like doing other things are more better. Like cleaning a room is never something you want to do. But when there is a task like completing an assignment, suddenly cleaning your room becomes a very interesting thing to do. What that is that you're basically trying to avoid a bigger task in front of you. Maybe having an important conversation with your boss is something that you're dreading and you don't want to do it. So suddenly making dinner that might become something very interesting. Otherwise, you never want to cook. You never want to go in the kitchen or make dinner. But at one time, it becomes very interesting. You start doing it. So I always say that procrastination is a response. And I love the image that I've added over here, which says, me, a procrastinator, I'll prove you wrong someday. Just you wait and see. Right? That is exactly what it is. Okay, so quick question for everyone. I'd love for you to put in the chat box. What is your favorite way to procrastinate? To chat with a friend? Doing anything but the task I don't like. Exactly, right? You will do anything, even mundane task feels so interesting, but you will not do the task in front of you. You'll tend to talk to a friend. You will tend to watch a TV show. You tend to eating, right? People just eat in order so that they don't have to face the task in front of themselves. Stress eating is what we term it. Great, thank you.
So, ma'am, I have a question. Ma'am, could you please help our MBA students to identify mental health disorders at workplace, as when our MBA students will become the managers in various companies in the future, how they will identify that their employees are suffering from mental health issues?
I think that is what, we looked at earlier, all those changes, right? When they feel like their functioning is not normal. This is normally not how this person is. You always have that inclination, that feeling that something is wrong. Like there is something up with this person. He or she is behaving very off nowadays. Maybe there's something going on in their life. The minute you feel like there's something like that happening, it's always nice to talk to the person to understand. If you physically feel like, oh my God, he's lost a lot of weight, if they're not open to talking, or they look so tired all the time, they seems like they're not sleeping. Or for example, at times you feel like, the person's making so many mistakes on this task, on this job. Normally, he or she never makes so many mistakes, right? But you feel like nowadays they keep making, there might be something happening. They might be struggling with their mental health. So kind of noticing all these factors will help you in identifying if, as a manager, if your team is struggling with their mental health.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Coming to our part of how we can handle stress, sleep. Gaining your 8 hours of sleep is important. How many hours do you all sleep for in general? Please put it in the chat box. Normally in a night, how many hours of sleep do you get?
Me, 5 hours, ma'am.
Right? 5 hours, 7 to 8, that's good. Preeti, 7 to 8 are very good hours of sleep. Anyone else? 6 hours. So when we talk about sleep, gaining at least 8 hours is what is required. We think about, we'll do all these things to take care of our mental health, but sleep we don't pay attention to. 6 hours, no, 6 hours is not okay. Anything less than 8 hours is what is required. So everyone, make it a point to complete your 8 hours of sleep, because that is only when your cognitive functioning is going to work. No one is going to be functioning at their best level if they aren't getting enough of sleep. You could be doing every other thing in your life to, upgrade, but if you're not getting enough of sleep, that is definitely an issue. Next idea is journaling. Journaling basically, in a way, helps you remove all that chaos in your mind and put it down on a sheet of paper. So just writing about your thoughts gives you a new perspective into how to deal with a problem. And journaling is something you can start working on, and then definitely pairing up with a professional to help you understand your thoughts better is also something very useful. Progressive muscle relaxation is a great way to do it. And I would encourage everyone, because we don't have enough time, but if you all could just Google this, right? Progressive muscle relaxation. You will go to YouTube, type these words, and there are many videos. Click any video. It's an active way to relax your mind and your body. We talk about meditation and all, it's a very passive way of relaxation. PMR is an active way of relaxation, because you're actively doing things, especially for people who are struggling with meditation. PMR becomes a great way of relaxing yourself, because it tells you, it's very guided, and you're doing muscle movements in order to relax yourself. Meditation, there's a great technique called the 2x breath, and I'm sure there are 100 other techniques that must be available, but meditation helps. Exercise is very good. And I'm going to again share. Yes, go ahead.
Some of them might be feeling problem during sleep hours also, Like they are not able to, they are on the bed, but they are not able to sleep. And PMR helps you very much. You have to just concentrate on a particular muscle and then give directions through the mind that it is relaxing, relaxing, relaxing. And when you start from toe and you start moving upward, you don't know what time you went off to sleep, right? So I would request that if people are having problems regarding that and they are not towards meditation, do go for PMR.
Absolutely. PMI is something that is also recommended when you have sleep issues, when you're not able to fall asleep. And like Sir said, it's a very active way of doing things. Each muscle of your body is used, right from your toes to your fingertips. So once you try it at least once, there's no harm in giving it a shot and see if it's working for you. Another thing is exercise. And an interesting thing that I read about exercise is that there are antidepressant medications, right? People who suffer from depression, at times when it's out of hand, you do go to a psychiatrist who does prescribe medication. Now, a certain type of antidepressant, has anyone heard the term Zoloft? It's a certain type of antidepressant. So recently, a study was done where it showed that doing half an hour of cardio every day, right? Just that some form of exercise every day has the same effects as a single pill of Zoloft. which is amazing, right? We know with antidepressants, many issues come up. But knowing that even doing half an hour of exercise, especially cardio every day, can have the same effects of a single pill of an antidepressant like Zoloft should be an extremely motivating factor to start with it. Gratitude also is a great way of maintaining mental health. If you are, you can show gratitude in any way that you like. Maybe journaling, maybe while praying, maybe while chatting with a friend, but trying to use some form of gratitude every day for like a minute also shows immense changes in your mental health. So now that we've come to an end, if anyone is feeling overwhelmed, take a bit of what you need. Do you need a mental health day off? Take that. Do you need a deep breath? Go ahead and take it. Some time with friends, maybe a walk outside, sleep. Anything out of these that you need, please go ahead and take it in case you're feeling overwhelmed.
My last question to you is, how come organizations increase productivity and promote mental health in workplace? What are the tools needed to understand and cope up with the mental health issues in the workplace? And also, what can be the creative ways of increasing productivity at the workplace?
So to answer your first question, I think it becomes very important that in workplaces, we start including emotional intelligence. According to the Harvard Business Review, when recruiters are employing people, emotional intelligence is twice as important as your technical skills. And when we talk about emotional intelligence, what do we mean? We mean self-awareness, we mean empathy, motivation, self-regulation, and your social skills. Having all these factors that an organization promotes to introduce in their employees is how you can start by the management taking care of mental health. Introducing empathy into their employees, introducing self-awareness, like we spoke about earlier, motivation, like we spoke about earlier, self-regulation, how can I manage all my emotional difficulties? And finally, social skills, right? In any organization, communication is important. In any team, communication is the key factor. So learning effective ways of communicating, all of these consist of your emotional intelligence. So introducing these factors is one thing that organizations can do. Another thing is that having employee assistant programs in an organization, right? So that mental health professionals are available. You have workshops, like this amazing workshops that are being created by the organization, right? Definitely we have to acknowledge and give them credit for it, because this is the steps that they are taking so that they can help their students with their mental health. When we're talking about, just having these mental days off, like we have casual leaves, we have sick leaves. How about have a mental day leave? I can't work today because I'm struggling with my mental health. Introducing these ideas into an organization. And I'd like to end with this really interesting thing. It's something that was found by Donald Clifton. It's basically called the strengths-based finder. So what you do in this is, if an organization can promote it or ask all their employees to go ahead with it, you try to identify the employee. The employee does a questionnaire. It's a test, online test. And when you do that online test, all the strengths of a person comes out. So what are your key strengths as an individual? That is what comes, a detailed report of that. And then using your strengths in any task you do is a great way to increase productivity, very creative. And it's basically making that shift from focusing on the weakness. We always focus on, this is my weakness, this is what I need to improve, this is my area of development. It's always a focus of that. Shifting that focus from weakness to strengths and capitalizing on your strengths would be a great way to increase productivity. I hope that answers your question.
Yes, ma'am. Sure, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Great. And just a little bit about, these are the neurotransmitters in your brain that increase the happy chemicals that we call them. dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin, endorphin. So these get released, like say, completing a task, playing with a dog, running, meditating, laughter, dark chocolate. All of these things definitely increase the happy chemicals in your brain. So capitalize on these tasks, do them so that you feel happier as a person. Finding happiness in the simple things. I just like this image, and I feel like, people can relate to it. I worry about things a lot. Are you worried about anything that is here with us right now? Not right now. Right now is okay. The future will come. We can prepare for it, but let's not live there just yet, right? When we talk about anxiety, anxiety is fear of the future, living in the future. Let's be mindful. Let's live in the present. Let's not live in the future just yet. That will come. Thank you. I'm just going to stop sharing my presentation.
Thank you so much, ma'am. You have answered all our queries, and it was great listening to you, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Thank you. It was lovely being there, being a part of this. And I hope that everyone has gained something. Even if you've gained 10% from this presentation, my job is done. So I hope everyone takes something home with them, some takeaway. If you would like to share your takeaways, I would love to see them. You're welcome. I'm glad that you enjoyed the session. I'm glad that y'all enjoyed the session. There was some learning out of it. Thank you so much.
Let's have a vow to this. I won't procrastinate. Okay. I will think of, okay, I will more be towards intrinsic motivation. I will do some kind of exercise every day. Okay. I will look for those things which increase my happiness factor. All right. Or I would love to be more planned. I will break my work into pieces and then ensure that I'm able to finish on time. I will be a better time manager. So these are some things which we really need to think if we want to take care of our mental health. All right? And let's not think that mental health is only confined to the workplace, which is my office. Right? It is to do with every aspect, every bit of my life, my family life, even my leisure time. How do I spend it? What do I do with it? Right? Or the way I talk with the people, the way I socialize, everything has to do with mental health. So let's take care of our mental health. Let's take care of someone who is going through a period of distress. That's very important. And let me tell you, if you take care of someone, you are actually taking care of your own mental health. That's something great which I understood from the discussions today, right? And that is what exactly is empathy all about. So thank you so much for joining us today, and especially Jamila ma'am, thank you so much for giving us that kind of time and wonderful session full of your experience of dealing with people who are going through different kinds of phases, and I'm sure it was of great help, and it would be a great help from the future point of view also. Those of us who were attending or would attend our sessions, because this session is going to remain on our website. And we have seen those people who cannot, because of some reasons, join us, right? They continue to see it. And great session. Thank you so much. Now I will request Ruchi ma'am to take us to the university round once more and help us understand basically how our university, being a progressive university, takes care of the basic nuances involved in mental health, right? And ensuring a workforce sending a workforce in the society which is not only mentally healthy, but is on guard constantly how to remain so and ensure that their environment, if it is not so congenial, how to make it so. So thank you so much all, and over to Ruchika.
Thank you so much, Arora sir. And I must say thank you to Jamila for a wonderful session, because at such a young age, I must say she is so much passionate and enthusiastic about her own learnings, and she is sharing so fantastically. So congratulations to Jamila ma'am, Ashok sir, and the whole K.R.Mangalam fraternity and the university. Now I walk you through the virtual tour of K.R.Mangalam University. I hope my slide is visible to you all.
Yes, ma'am, it is perfectly visible.
Yeah, so welcome you all to the virtual tour of K.R.Mangalam University. As we all can see, it's so beautifully situated in the outskirts areas of the Gurgaon city. This is pollution-free area, I must say. So let us walk. About the university, it's a pioneering institution of higher education in Haryana. And because I'm working in this university since 2013, I have seen different phases and how the university is growing on consistent basis. So it has more than 3,000 students, 12 different schools. It is situated in 26-acre campus, and more than 150 faculty members are working here, who are really the researchers and the academicians. The campus is really the green, lush campus. And we would like to sometimes visit after having our lunch for a walk, because it gives us full energy and regenerates us for again taking us or making us ready for taking the classes. It is equipped with industry integrated curriculum and has an international exposure and tie-ups with foreign universities and institutions of high repute too. It has AC bus facility across Delhi NCR area. It has definitely fully furnished AC hostel, and it is furnished with so much good other equipments too. Over 65 plus UG and PG programs are running in this university. It has fully air-conditioned classrooms equipped with audio-visual aids, wherein the students are really making themselves comfortable with the know-hows of today's time. It has full-time faculty with rich industry experience and academia too. It is fully functional, high laboratories across various disciplines like chemistry, physics, management, and other areas. It has industry or interdisciplinary project-based learning. That means the students are really having the hands-on experience, learning so many new things on each day. It has recorded placement year after year with over 400 plus regular recruiter in various disciplines, which I will be definitely walk you through in the coming slides. And the wonderful thing about the university is that it has scholarships, which is available to the students up to 100% to those students who are really meritorious and the deserving ones. These are the courses offered in the university. In the engineering and technology, we have BTech with different specializations like CSE, AI, ML, then your mechanical engineering, we have BCA, BSc honors, computer science, and academic support with IBM. We have BSc data science, BSc cybersecurity, MTech, and MCA too. We have part-time MTech too here in engineering and technology school. In School of Journalism and Mass Communication, we have the undergraduation and post-graduation, that is BA and MA in journalism and mass communication. About the School of Management and Commerce, we have BBA in HR, Marketing, Finance, International Business and Travel. These are the specializations which we are offering nowadays to the students, and other specialization with business analytics or intelligence, and analytics and academic support, Symmetrics. BCom honors with academic support, NSC, BCom program, MBA with academic support from IBM, and MBA part-time and MCOM. And one thing is not mentioned here, which I would like to highlight, which we are starting from this year, is integrated BBA MBA program. About basic and applied sciences, we have BSc honors with the different specializations of physics, chemistry, mathematics, and with assistance in civil science, civil service examination preparation, along with IIT and JAM preparation. That means we are making our students ready for the UPSC examinations and other civil services examinations. We have MSc honors with physics, chemistry, mathematics, and MSc honors part-time too. In education, we have B.Ed, DLEd, and MA education. In architecture and design, we have Bachelor of Architecture, Bachelor of Interior Design, Bachelor of Design, BSc Interior Design, and BA Fashion Design. In legal studies, that means School of Law, we have BB LLB, that is a 5-year integrated course, BCom LLB, again 5-year integrated course, BA LLB, LLB honors, and an LLM for 1 year. In humanities, we have BA honors, MA in English, B honors in psychology, B honors in Chinese, B honors MA in economics, and B honors in digital humanities. About medical and allied sciences school, we have B Pharma, M Pharma, D Pharma, BPT, BSc in operation theatre technique, BSc in dialysis technology, BSc in medical lab technology, B optometry with academic support, Dr. Shroff Charity Eye Hospital. About hotel management and catering technology, we have BHMCT, and we have Ag School of Agriculture also, in which students are pursuing their BSc honors in agriculture. And of course, in all the schools, in all the disciplines, we have the PhD program also, that is the doctorate in philosophy. We have almost in all the schools, we are running this PhD program. We can also see about the industry collaboration. We have the collaboration with IBM, NSC, Symmetric, Siemens, Dr. Shroff Charity Eye Hospital, and LinkedIn Learning, and there are many more. Now I'm going to walk you through the different kind of laboratories which we are having in the university. As we all can see, E-Yantra Robotics, and another society, the another name for this society is the Robotics Society, and it is actually governed by the IIT Mumbai. This is actually talking about the creativity. It's a combination of the creativity and the curiosity, where the students are really going ahead with the different kind of curiosity. They're coming with their projects, and we have Professor Dr. Kishan Lal, who is C.V. Raman chair in our university. He is a scientist at national, international level, and is guiding the students for their creativity, and students are really taking benefit out of his wisdom and knowledge. These are the dignitary distinguished professors we are having with us in our university. And this is the panel which is actually guiding us, the people who are the budding educators in the day-to-day working, and how to write research papers, how to go ahead with the international collaborations. So these are the honorary distinguished professors who are keeping us, guiding us on each and every moment of our life. Apart from the robotics, we have one innovative teaching facility also, or this is known as Smart Ashram. Actually, this is the envision being created by our Chancellor, Sir Professor Dinesh Singh. So this is a place which is about the contemplating learnings. That means this is a combination of the traditional learning as well as the most contemporary aspect of today's learning. So students, they go there, they sit down in this ashram, they introspect, they retrospect, they come up with the newer and newer ideas, because sometimes the ideas, they only come when we are peaceful, when we are having, calmness in our surroundings. So this is the place which is coming up where students are having different ideologies with their professors. So they are coming up with different ideologies and different phenomena which are really best suited in today's time. About different type of programs, or we can say the best practices which we are adopting here in K.R.Mangalam University's Industry Connect. So here the students are actually, or you can say in real sense, are involved with the real projects. So they are working with the hands-on project, and they are learning newer technology along with the outsourced people and the professors who are already working in the university. We have a proper mentor-mentee program Suppose a student is suffering from some problem where he is not able to or she is not able to share it with the teachers, whosoever is coming and teaching him or her in the class. So this is the duty of the mentor to counsel the mentee. And the mentees are also feeling comfortable when they are sitting nearby their mentor and sharing their problems. So we have a proper counselor cell in our university also, and mentor is also playing the role as a counselor. Community Connect. This is a wonderful program, believe me, because I also am a part of this Community Connect program where we are going to the, for the extension activities, we are going to the nearby villages, making the villagers acquainted about what they are lacking and how they can fulfill it. So like we are having the blood banks organized in the nearby villages. We are going to make people aware about legal aspects. Sometimes the people are not aware what type of government policies and plannings are there. So we are making people acquainted about that. We are making people, as Jamila has just spoken about, the mental illness. Sometimes people are not paying attention. And I remember when I got a chance to meet a psychiatrist some days back, he told me like, अगर किसी के पैर में दर्द है तो वो पैर से लंगड़ा के चलेगा, वो प्रॉपर नहीं चल पाएगा, पैर में दर्द है या चोट लग गई है, तो घर वाले उसको बोलेंगे ओके अभी आप रेस्ट करो. लेकिन अगर दिमाग की कोई प्रॉब्लम है तो उसे बोला जाएगा नहीं, आप ये अच्छे से नहीं कर रहे हो, आप दिमाग पे और जोर डालो, because it's not seen. So mental illness is such an illness which is not seen by the people, which is even not observed by the people. So this is somewhere hidden. And in India, this is the report of World Health Organization. Around 300 million people, they are suffering from this mental illness today. So what is the role of youth today? What is the role of a teacher today, the universities today, is that how we can make people acquainted about this mental illness and give them some solution, or making them reach out to some psychiatrist or some psychotherapist who can really help them out. We have different clubs and societies in our university for the 360-degree development of our students. So there are various clubs. I introduce you some of them. Like we have sports club wherein the students are participating. They are really working hard and they are working out physically, mentally. They are playing Sudoku when I'm saying mentally. They are playing chess when I'm saying mentally. They are playing cricket, volleyball, and all other games when I talk about the physical aspect of their development. Then we have cultural society. Cultural society means there are many good things which are observed in the students nowadays. They are versatile. They are having many good skills into them. Like they are good singers, they are dancers, they are orchestra players, and many more things are there. So we are actually promoting all these virtues in the students, so that they can come up and groom their personality to the fullest. So these are some of the clubs and societies which are working in our university. Now I would like to introduce one of the society with which I am associated with. As Jamila was speaking about mindfulness, Jamila, I am a trainer in heartfulness. So actually heartfulness is an organization which is situated in India, and apart from India, it is situated in 170 nations. So I'm a certified trainer for that. And in 2015, we started with this Chetna society. Chetna means the consciousness. So that means consciousness means I have a power to discriminate what is right for me, what is not so right for me, and taking the decisions in that direction. So this Chetna society in K.R.Mangalam University, this is the data which I'm showing is from 2018 to 20 only. But actually since 2013, we are working when the society was also not there. So continuously we are working here. And the purpose of this society is to develop the supreme human qualities in the young learners, so that they can get a chance to connect with their own heart, and the wisdom which is somewhere hidden there inside can be generated or can bring outside. This society is governed by one convener teacher, and many volunteer students are associated with this society. I have some glimpses to show you what we are doing with this society. In 2013-14, we have organized All India Essay Writing event with the United Nations Information Center for India and Bhutan with the help of Heartfulness Institute and K.R.Mangalam University. So we can see our university was appreciated with large number of students participated in this event. And the topic of this event is always full of human values, where the students are actually thinking about those aspects and writing. And these are some of the medals and the certificates which have been awarded by our students. Our students have been awarded at state level and at city level. There are many students who are meritorious while they have the reading skills or the writing skills. They have inculcated this skill after participating in these essay events. These are the programs which we are running in the university on consistent basis for the teachers, for the students, like yoga and meditation. So we are inviting so many academicians, trainers, from people from industry, from the corporates, and the people from Heartfulness Institute to conduct such sessions. After these sessions, the people are really feeling that they are relaxed. I remember Arora sir and Jamila, both of you were talking about some relaxation technique. So Heartfulness is also having a wonderful relaxation technique, after which the people or the students, they are saying, yes, we are completely relaxed. Maybe they are stressed out, they are burned out, but they are feeling relaxed out of it. So this is really a wonderful technique. And the students are nowadays actively participating into these activities because they feel there is something improving inside me. There is something developing inside me. And when such a wonderful opportunity is provided by university, why can't I be the part of this opportunity? So students are now coming up with full energy and enthusiasm. So these are some of our PhD scholars who are meditating, some of the scholars who are into this research, some of the students who are doing their research work in the other universities, and in our university, they are also participating in this event. You can see this event is done for the hostel students, hostel warden, and the same event is done for the housekeeping staff also. Arora sir, I remember when I'm conducting these sessions for the university teachers and the students, so these guards and housekeeping people, they come and they tell me, ma'am, you don't love us, that's why you are not conducting these sessions for us. So उन लोगों के लिए भी हम इन सेशंस को कराते हैं, and of course their capability, their ability to do work enhances after these sessions. So, and sometimes I stay there after 4 p.m. in the university, and we conduct the sessions for the hostel students as well. And these sessions are not only for the sake of conducting meditation or yoga, but when the students are joining, once completing their MBA, completing their BB or other programs, once they're out, they say, ma'am, we are more equipped. We can handle stress more easily now because we know how to handle the stress. We know how to manage it, because these sessions are all about life skills. I remember the research done by Harvard University, Stanford University, is that the research was conducted over 10,000 people. And it was found out, like if 100% data was there, so 87% people were successful who were very much equipped in their life skills. Only 13% people were successful who were very good in their technical skills. When I say technical skills, maybe they got 9.8 CGP out of 10 or 9 CGP out of 10. So they were actually cramming a lot of things. They were very good in studies, but they hardly pay attention towards life skills. So I am so much thankful to K.R.Mangalam University that it is not only thinking about the technical aspect of the skills for the development of the students, but it is consistently, simultaneously thinking about the overall development, which includes the life skills also of the students. Now, I will walk you through some very interesting aspect. It is about the international exposure, what we are giving to our MBA students. So 3 times we have been visited to the UK. This batch, you can see, this visited to Bristol University, UK, and this batch visited to Cardiff Metropolitan University, UK. There was a London trip also. There was a project, summer school project also, which was taken care by Our students, the faculty members also, and after coming from there, students felt like it was worth attending these summer schools in other countries and other nations. So this is a wonderful trip which is being organized by our university. The most important aspect about which the parents and students are more focused about is the placement. The highest package which has been provided to a student very recently was 24 lakhs per annum. And more than 400 plus recruiters are visiting on and off. Total offers made 600 place and 600 plus, and students placed up to 90%. And 10% are those students who have, maybe they would like to go ahead with their startups or their entrepreneur schemes are there, or their parents are already having some business, they would like to go ahead with the same business. So 10% are those students. We have these top recruiters, which you all can see here on the slide: Paytm, Sun Pharma, KPMG, Vedanta, India Bulls, ESCE, et al. So there are many more, which I'm not discussing right now. You can see it on the slide right now. India Bulls is there, HCL Technology, Outlook is there, Paytm, KJ, Notes is there. So these are the tie-ups, and many more tie-ups are going on. We have tie-ups with IBM, NSC, Symmetrics, and proper guidance is going on for even the BBA students, MBA students. We have proper guidance which is going on for IMA also. From IMA people, they are coming and they are providing the guidance to the students for their summer internship also. Pranab Mukherjee Foundation, they are providing these benefits, these guidance to the students so that they can go ahead with much more success in their lives. So, and I just would like to talk about the admission process. So this is the stages, different stages are there. First of all, a student has to meet the admission officer coming to the college or maybe on the phone. And after that, he need to procure the application form. He need to register with K.R.Mangalam University. Then there is a written test. The student has to appear into that test. And after that, the personal interview is there with the faculty members and admission team. Once the student is gone through the interview successfully, then he is or she is ready to pay the fees. And after that, the admission is done in the university. This is the average fee structure. Actually, we are comparing it with the different states also. What K.R.Mangalam University is providing in 3 years degree program or 4 or 5 years technical program or management program. So these are some of the differences which you can all obviously see on the slide. So University, K.R.Mangalam University is charging very genuinely when we talk about the fees, and we talk about the giving. It's giving much more, as we have already discussed in the slides. About the scholarship, it actually offers the deserving UG students the scholarship up to 100%, and the fast track admission to those who have 90% and above in their 12th standard. And 15% scholarship is for siblings, the brothers and sisters who are from the same family. They are giving the scholarship 15% scholarship for the sports quota. It has been noticed like there are many students who are actually doing so much wonderful at the state level, national level, even at the university level. So they also have the 15% scholarship scheme. And from the children of the defense people, the army employees, the army people, they have, if their children would like to take admission, of course, they will get 15% scholarship and special financial aid to students from K.R.Mangalam schools. There are various schools. So if those students are taking admission, then there are some special financial aid provided to these students. Thank you so much for listening to me and taking out your time. If you have any question, you can ask. Yeah. Thank you, Pallavi.
Well, that was wonderful taking us around, especially regarding the Chetna bit, you know. And I can understand once you are a protagonist of that, but when you are a part of the organization, how much you feel for organization, particularly the one you really raise, you know. So Chetna is doing a wonderful job. Before we close, one point I would like to say is to our audience that, you know, the taste of the pudding is in eating, you know. We just try to explain you about the university and how do we function. But the real thing is this, that you come and see, visit our campus and actually have a taste of it and a feel of it. And that is where you will come to know the difference which Jamila was talking about, whether you are just feeling it, right? River is flowing, or you are with the river and understanding what the river is exactly all about. So we would like to extend a very welcome, we would like to welcome you all in our campus, meet our faculty, meet our students, see the facilities by your own eyes, feel them, and then decide. So thank you so much for being together. And once again, my special thanks to Jamila ma'am. Anything you like to say today, Jamila ji, about your experience?
Yes, I'd definitely first like to thank the university for inviting me and for allowing me to do this presentation. I think the audience was great. The faculty was great. It was very interactive and I had a lot of fun. So I hope you did too. And there was some learning out of it. I'd also like to mention that if I was a student again, I definitely want to come to this university because seeing the presentation, it definitely makes me want to come. For the virtual tour was so great. I can't wait to see how the physical and in-person tour would be. So if I was one of them, I would definitely do that. And thank you so much. I hope everyone has a great day ahead. And that was something that you take back home from today's presentation and webinar.
Thank you so much. We look forward for more presentations like this. And to my friends, I would like to say every Saturday we hold such kind of presentation. But May onward, we will start 3 presentations a week. All right. So more and more awareness, more and more, something which you do not get otherwise. That is what we try to provide you through the webinars, right? So look forward seeing you again and again. And thank you so much for joining us. And my special thanks to the moderator, Dr. Pallavi and Dr. Ruchi. I'm really impressed. Thank you so much for giving such a wonderful presentation.
Thank you, sir. So, thank you so much from our side too.
Backend team also, because without them, we cannot have anything happening. Thank you so much. And
Ashok, sir, I must say you are making everybody so live and interactive. That's a wonderful skill you have. Keep having this skill in the future also. And Jamila, you keep spreading love and positivity throughout.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Okay, bye. We look forward. Right.